Hey, welcome to another episode of our podcast. I'm Gibby.
And I'm Lex, and this is Porch Swing People. Oh my gosh, we're so excited for our guest today. Just one of the best people I know. But before we bring this person on, I wanted to share a little story that I thought you would get a kick out of, Gibby.
Well, let's hear it.
A couple weekends ago, I was out without my kids, which is very rare. They're always with me. So I was walking down the sidewalk. Right off the sidewalk, there are about 4 or 5 construction workers bulldozing over a sidewalk, bringing up all of the concrete and using some cool equipment, and it just captivated me. And I'm looking around to share it with somebody, and I realized that the reason it captivated me so much is because my kids have trained me to be enthralled by construction. And so I'm looking around for them so I can point out the construction and we can enjoy that moment together. And I was a little sad that they weren't with me. What it really reminded me is just how easily kids can find the beauty in everyday moments, and how they have taught me how to see that too, even when I'm not with them. You know what I mean?
I do. I live out in the middle of nowhere for the most part, and I see the most incredible things all the time. With the wild animals and birds. I could tell you it's were incredibly cool that I was able to observe. I have a service dog. Her name is Poppy. So I get to share my life with this dog, and it shares its life with me. I let her outside, and it was just springtime, about this time of the year. So I went to the door, and I opened it up, and I see Poppy out in the field, and she is running, and she's being chased by some bird about 5 foot over her head and about a 45-degree angle, and she's just trucking. I'm like, what in the world's going on? And then she stops, she turns around, and then she starts chasing the bird, which was a crow. And then she stopped, and she turned around, and then the crow, so they were doing this cat and mouse game with each other, completely engaged with each other in a playful moment. And then Poppy got tired, and she kind of like stopped and laid down and was panting. The bird, the crow, he just sat down and he waited. And then Poppy got back up and she started chasing, and they did it a couple more times. And her eye caught me standing in the door. So she came back inside. But it was very, very cool.
Just a reminder that we are all on this planet together.
Connected.
And we're all living our life at this moment in time together. And that's such a wonderful gift. Hey, should we bring on our guest?
Let's do it.
Our guest today is one of my oldest, dearest friends, Dani. I've known Dani since the 4th or 5th grade. So we were childhood friends and then grew up together. But I'm really excited to talk about what's going on in Dani's present, talking about some of their interests and goals.
You guys are going to love Dani, and I am so excited to hear what they're going to have to share.
Let's bring him on.
Daddy.
Hello. We did
Hi,
it.
Daddy.
Hi, guys.
We're so excited you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Is this your first podcast guest experience?
This is, as a matter of fact.
Well, who would have thought?
I know. What an honor.
Hopefully it'll be a pretty good experience.
It's going to be fun.
We have some questions we're going to ask you over the next hour or so, and we want to hear your experiences and your stories and whatever you want to share with us. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. That sounds great to me.
Well, Dani, why don't you start by telling us a little about yourself?
All right. Well, I am a busy professional about town. I am a daughter, an auntie now, a friend, and yeah, I enjoy just looking for fun opportunities like this to connect with old friends. And, in these times right now where we're kind of, I think, looking for more connection and more opportunities to have more authentic connection and fun experiences, I just love to hear that there's podcasts like this. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was just the premise of our podcast right there. Thanks, Dani. Tell us a little bit about your job. You said you're a young professional thriving in the medical research field, right?
That's exactly right. So yeah, I work with people with pretty serious health problems. So my job as a researcher is to mostly collect the data, all the behind the scenes stuff, and just make sure it's as accurate as possible so that when we are ready to submit our drug patents or the things we've been working on to FDA and the other auditing bodies, that it's all accurate and that we're keeping our participants as safe as we possibly can. Because again, we are working with individuals who have pretty serious health impairments. So we want to make sure that with their decision to participate in research, that they're getting the best care possible and that we're getting the best data possible from that. So it's a really rewarding field, and it's really given me a lot of perspective, especially right now.
I feel like you and the countless people who are doing the same thing you're doing across other medical research organizations are these essential background individuals making everything happen, keeping everything safe, keeping everything organized, and doing such important work quietly. And without you doing that, I mean, like such an impact on the world. So thank
Oh,
you,
thank
Dani.
you. No, thank you. What a nice thing to say about that.
That is a long ways away from the young ladies that are on this podcast that I remember when you were younger. Just how everything you guys, it was so fun to watch you two grow up together. It was giggles, laughing, just the way that you looked at the world. It was like you had no worries. And now both of you grown up and doing important things, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, thanks, Gibby.
You know, we were doing important things back then too. I remember one of my very favorite things to do with Dani was go trick or treating. You dressed up as, I think you dressed up as Cruella DeVille one year. Am I right?
I did. You are absolutely right.
Oh man, so many memories.
Yeah, Lex and I go way, way, way back. So it's been really, really cool to get to grow up together and yeah, see how our perspectives have changed, our families have grown. But yeah, at our hearts, I still think of us as those 11-year-old kids. Yeah, out behind your house, climbing the mountain and staying up late.
Okay, that's so funny because when I think of our childhood, I think of sleepovers at your house.
Really?
Down
How
in the
funny.
basement. Yeah.
Yeah, because
going
I
out
think
on
of
the
your
farm.
house. Yeah, every time.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
So, hey, Dani, we were talking before you came on with us, and just, interpretation of beauty outside the world. Lexi's, her thing that she popped up was she was watching a construction crew breaking up a sidewalk with a jackhammer, and she was completely fascinated. I was expressing a couple stories of, my dog Poppy being chased by a crow, and then she would chase it, and they were interacting. Tell us something about a piece of beauty that you notice in your everyday life.
Those are both really good examples. So yeah, like I was just alluding to, I work in the medical field and medical research, and we actually work in a collection of buildings that are up on the side of a mountain. Every morning when I walk in, and we have this big, big parking lot that we all have to traverse, it's so dangerous. Every day I'm like, man, one of us is going to end up like in the hospital from walking up across this parking lot. It's massive.
That's crazy.
Every morning I'm walking up, yeah, the side of a mountain essentially to get to work. And it's just such a fascinating juxtaposition to have this beautiful wild landscape and then this really serious medical setting. Especially right now in springtime, we have just fields and fields of greenery and flowers.
That reminds me of this song by Dave Matthews that
Oh, really?
I was telling Dad about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's called Funny the Way It Is.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
write
have
that
to
down.
look it up. He goes over different scenarios that people are going through in the world at this moment. Simultaneously, people are going through tough things, people are going through their best moments, people are going through mundane moments or super fun moments. And the idea is it's just funny the way it is, not right or wrong, but this is how the world is. And in talking about this podcast with Gibby, we've talked a lot about how the focus of our podcast is meant to be positive and uplifting and connecting with others, but not as a way of escaping from reality,
Right.
but as a way of highlighting part of our reality. This is our reality. There are tough things that are happening, and there are also good things. And we can't pretend that the negative things aren't there. Of course, they're there, and we know about them. we also know that the good things are there, and we know about them, and we're talking about them and sharing them with others.
Absolutely. No, I love that you've made that distinction as well because, yeah, I think that sometimes people have a tendency to say, well, if we're talking about happy things in the face of such terrible times, then that's escaping it. But I agree. I don't think that's true at all. I think that we have an obligation more so than ever to talk about these positive things, even when things are at their most terrible. And again, that's the lesson that I've learned from the type of work that I do. So it's good to hear that other people believe in that message as strongly as I do, because I just think we can't make it without that. Like,
Well
No.
said.
you're not,
Well
you're not going to
said.
make it without it.
Danny, what kinds of things in your current life bring you joy right now, or are you super grateful for?
So I have lately been feeling a lot of thankfulness for the city that I live in and honestly the age that I'm at to appreciate it. I grew up in a small town not too far from where I live and work now. And growing up here, I always anticipated that one day I would move as far away as humanly possible, never to return. And things haven't worked out for that. And lately, I've started to appreciate more fully that they haven't. I think it really has taken me to being in my 30s to fully appreciate the space that I'm in. I just feel so thankful, like, for being in this state of life where I feel a more fullness with my family, with my community, and with the city that I live in. Like, I don't think I could have this experience younger. I think that I needed to reach this time point and with this level of experience to fully be like, oh, wow, I like what's happening here, actually. And I like being able to be a part of that. I don't think I was fully connected as a community member until I started to reach this point in my life. And part of that is through my work, part of that is through my friendship circles, the artistic circles that I run in within this crowd, the culture. But I feel a lot more kinship and community than I did before. And I'm just really thankful for that. It's a really good thing to get to feel.
Yeah, that's incredible. And that makes me feel so happy for you.
Thank you.
We were talking a little bit ago about connection too, and how all of us are connected, not just people, but everything that's energy.
It's really not even just people and animals, it's all of the plants around us, it's our whole world, and the way that we connect with each other, whether we recognize it or not. I think you're really good at recognizing it.
I like to think so. I like to think so. But I like, yeah, the emphasis that you've brought up that it isn't just people. Like, I think a lot of times people get into this mindset of like, oh, well, maybe I don't see my friends as often, or maybe I'm not as active in a community as I'd like to be right now. But like, you, no matter where you are, like, even if you are living in, like, I don't know, a research base in Antarctica, you are a part of a community. You are a part of an ecology. Like, there is nature around you that notices your presence. Yeah, I think that's really special. And I think that that is something that can really be grounding for people during times when you maybe don't feel so much a part of something. Just know that your presence, like, you, the world wouldn't be the same without your presence. The world that you live within would not be the same without you.
Yes, so well said. I would say that that's something that I've always felt, but that I really learned deeply from watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So true.
Am I
So
right?
true. Absolutely. That was like our first brush with this idea, I think, of, yeah, like consciousness and like the idea that there is a
We were so lucky
greater.
to grow up with Avatar.
We were so lucky. That was, oh, one of the highlights for sure of our
And,
childhood together.
and for you
Yeah, and Gibby
listeners,
watched it too.
I not once. I was drugged through, and it is a very well done animated show.
I still watch it.
There's a lot of
Me
stuff
too.
you can learn out of that.
Oh, yeah.
That too, which is very cool. So intentional.
Yes.
Intentional, yes.
Well, and now as an adult, you probably feel the same way, Danny. You go back and you watch it, and you see the intention behind different parts of each episode that you didn't see as a kid. Oh my gosh, it just hits you. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely do. Yeah, no, because like you, yeah, I also have rewatched it quite a bit during COVID when they put it on Netflix and you got to go
Yes.
through it again, almost as if for the first time. That was such a wonderful resurgence of that adventure. And so, yeah, have that sense. Honestly, it's even more of a good feeling to watch it now, I think, because you appreciate that piece more.
Oh, okay, sorry, my brain has gone off on a tangent of Avatar tattoos that I want to get Okay.
Uh,
Anyway,
We'll regroup on that later for
but
sure.
we'll come back. We'll circle around back to
We'll
the
circle back. We'll circle
Avatar
back.
tattoos. Tell us about something that you've learned. Maybe not from Avatar, but maybe from another person in your life.
Ooh, I don't know. So many good lessons from Avatar. No, when I saw this question, I came back to a really important moment in my life, and it was actually with my younger sister. And I don't think I've ever told this story before. I don't think I've told it again to her. I'm not sure I've mentioned it to much of anybody, but let's see, this was maybe 8 or so years ago. So my sister is 3 years younger than I am. And over there, the last, I don't know, maybe 10-ish years, we've gotten a lot closer than we were growing up. So this was kind of at that cusp of us starting to have that greater, deeper connection and kind of talking more intimately than we had growing up. But I remember we were driving in her car somewhere and we were talking about our parents. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm the first person in our family to graduate from college, which is a really cool accomplishment and something I'm
Yeah.
really proud of, and my family has a lot of pride in. Because I took kind of this different path from everyone else in my family, I kind of took more of the academic route and I still work, within research versus the rest of my family who work on a small business and they all work together. So they all see each other every day and they kind of have a very different workflow and different work life than I
Hmm.
have. We were talking about our parents, and I was actually kind of lamenting the fact that they worked so hard to provide such a great life for us. Like they worked so hard, and we have all these really strong memories growing up of just like all the hours that they put in to provide in like a very physical setting a lot of the time. And I was just saying, wow, like I really admire that so much. Like I feel like I haven't worked hard enough. Like I didn't work hard in the way that they worked hard. And my sister looked at me and she said, there's all different types of hard work. And that was the first time that it had really occurred to me like, oh, like she's right. There are different types of hard work. Just because
Yeah.
I conceptualize things one way doesn't mean that that's the only way to see things. That really challenged me and that really changed the way that I viewed things. Like I said, I don't think I've ever said that story to her before, but that's what really made me recognize that the contributions that I have may be different from the rest of my family, but there's all different ways to have those contributions.
Yeah.
And
And they
I know,
matter and they're
and they matter.
valuable
Yeah. And I know that they
and
have
they
a
are
lot of
hard
pride in
work.
me. And they are hard
Yeah.
work.
Aw.
So yeah, that was a cool moment.
In this world that can feel so competitive and with social media painting a picture of perfection, it's hard to remember that what we do on a daily basis and the work we put in, we don't need to compare it to other people and their contributions, that everybody's contributions matter, including yours. And like you said, they may all look different.
what I
Right.
love about that story is your sister right now does not know the impact that she left on you.
She doesn't.
and
Yeah.
and hopefully she gets to watch this episode and she's going to be surprised like, ah, that's very cool.
That's a good point, though, about how your words matter and
Hmm.
you have no idea what you are saying to people that they are then thinking about and talking about and sharing with people on podcasts years later.
It's so true.
Words matter. Yeah.
Words matter.
You know what? I'm so curious what you have to share with us. Tell us about a book, a movie, or a musical album or a product, something that you swear by that we all need to add to our daily lives.
Okay. So I have a bit of an unexpected one. I think that you kind of expected I would go in one direction with this.
Mm.
One of the things I'm really known for, like in my social media presence, is I talk a lot about music. I love to
Yes.
review and recommend albums. It's one of my favorite things. However, the thing that I think everyone needs is actually a product. So I'm going to tell you what this product is right now. The other thing I do a lot in my online presence is I bake. I love to cook. I
Yeah.
love to bake. I'm a huge fan of making breads and things. And I've noticed over the years that people seem to have the same thing that they say over and over again when I rock up to a party or something with a loaf of bread. They're like, oh, like I could never bake. Like it's so complicated. It's so hard. Like I always get it wrong. And I'm like, listen up, friend. I'm about to change your life. What you need to
Yeah.
do, this is it. This is my number one baking secret. You need to go out and buy yourself a digital kitchen scale. That's all you need. That is all that you need.
I'm sure you've
Life
mentioned this to
changing.
me before.
Life
So
changing,
I
huh?
wouldn't even know what to do with a digital kitchen scale. So walk us through it.
Let me talk you through the process. So here's the problem with baking
Yeah.
is, as you know, our listeners are probably aware, baking is a really precise science. Like, it's a really precise area of cooking. So you need to be really exact in your measurements.
Versus like if you're like making a pasta sauce, you could just like
Yeah,
some
whatever.
oregano. It doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
I always thought it was just, hey man, you just throw a pinch of this, a pinch of that. You're getting the scale out. So
You got to get the scale out.
tell us about it then.
You got to get the scale out. This is why you got to get the scale out. Things with flour in particular, like, they're not consistent. Like, different flours have very different textures and consistencies and weights. So you need to weigh them out. The beauty of this too is it's actually a lot easier in the long run because you don't need to worry about, like, leveling and like scooping and like, how you do with your flour. All you need to do is you get your scale down, you get a bowl, you zero out your scale so it's at 0, and then you just start dumping stuff in. Like, you just dump things in so that they're at the precise weight, you zero it out, you do the next thing, and that's it. It's the exact same every single time. You don't need to worry about changes in how you're weighing, if you're using a different measuring spoon, like these really small things that can make a difference in baking.
Danny's the importance of QA/QC.
When you have a recipe and it says X grams of something, I'm like, who's doing that? I'm
Me.
just going to do that. Half a cup.
She's
Yeah,
doing it.
Danny's doing that. And so should everybody else.
If you want to make your life easier, I promise you, this will make all the difference in your whole life. It's a great thing to do.
I did not expect this conversation. I think
I know.
It's
Are you
awesome.
serious?
Yeah.
Gibby, do you know about Danny's baking?
I don't.
I have said for a long time that Danny should have a bakery.
That is actually, like, I love what I'm doing right now. It's awesome. But in an ideal world where, I don't know, I had more time to plan for this, I would actually love to wake up at like 3 a.m. every day and just bake. I would love to just bake. I think I have the discipline. I think I have like the control to have something good like that. Yesterday, I actually went to a small bakery here in town by this woman. It's run by this really great woman who's an excellent baker. And it was her very last order before she went on maternity leave. She was still in the shop, and yeah, she had her belly just way out to here. But I was looking around at her shop. It was super cute, and I was like, man, this is the life right here.
Yes. Maybe it'll happen.
That kind of leads us into our next question. I mean, maybe that is the answer, but what is a dream or goal that you're currently working towards?
All right, so I'm having a lot of fun right now in my life, like I alluded to. Like, this job I'm in, it's pretty new. But the other big change that I'm experiencing right now is I am actually in the process of moving. I just bought this townhome that's about 15 minutes away from where I live right now. And I am very excited about it, not only because it's a really nice place, it's a lot bigger than where I'm living currently. The thing I'm most excited about is that I finally have enough space to host people.
Oh my gosh, I'm so there. Just a plane right away, and I'll probably have my kids with me, just FYI.
No,
Well,
I fully
congratulations.
expect that. Thank you so much. Yes, it's funny that you'd mention your kids too, just because yesterday morning I went there with my family to start the process of cleaning and just kind of check things out. I only just picked up the keys this week. And my niece and nephew were running around playing hide and seek. And my sister was like, oh, I hope you don't mind. And I was like, are you kidding? This is what I've been waiting for. Like,
Yes.
this is so
Oh,
wonderful.
dreamy.
It absolutely is. So in all of my plans, because people keep asking, they're like, all right, well, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to
Of
do about
course.
this? Literally all of my plans just keep coming back to how can I make this a more welcoming space for other people. I have this round kitchen table that I'm sitting at right now, that I'm recording at right now. And already I'm like, it's not big enough.
That's great. I mean,
But like,
not great. They have to go.
it's not
tailor
great.
shopping, but
Yeah, it's not big enough. But these are the type of
Yeah.
plans I'm making is I'm like, how can I make this a space to have people over? I'm so excited. I'm so enthused. It's just really, really exciting to have this
Wow.
new chapter.
When's the big move?
So 2 weeks. 2 weeks is when I'll finally start settling things in. So I have a lot to do before then.
Yeah.
I know you have a huge family and the network and everything. I have a large cargo container, so if you need help,
Gibby
give me
moves a lot of
call.
people. Yeah.
I volunteer to help.
He
Thank you.
loves
If
helping
you
people.
need that, just give me
Truly,
a
thank
buzz.
you. I will. I appreciate that.
You briefed over this way too quickly, Danny. If you don't mind telling us, those of you who didn't follow along on this journey with you, which would be Gibby and our listeners, your journey of going through the top music. Okay, I'm not saying it correctly, but
don't worry, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, you go. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, no, I love this topic, obviously. So yes, this what Lex is alluding to is this project that I started in 2020, where I listened to, at the time, 2020 version, Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time, and then I wrote reviews for all the ones that I hadn't heard before. So I think that ended up being like 384 of those I wrote reviews for. And this was a project that I finished. When did I finish? Like 2 years ago? It ended up taking me like about 3 years, but it was so much fun. I absolutely loved doing this. It was very much like a passion for me to sit down and critique all of these forms of music, like things I wouldn't listen to. Like obviously in 500 albums, a lot of those are going to be music that I'm not
genres.
Like, yeah, so many genres, things I'm not crazy about. But forcing myself to evaluate every single one on the basis of like its musicality was such a great experience for me. Lex knows this because again, we've been friends a very long time. I love to critique things. My favorite activity is to give criticism to something.
Constructive criticism, yeah.
Obviously, and like thoughtful, well thought out criticism. So this was just like an ultimate dream of mine to get to work on something like this.
An amazing way with words. It was so much fun to be a witness to the journey, to be on the outskirts of it, looking in and watching this major accomplishment of listening to hundreds of albums start to finish and then giving your thoughts on it. And like you said, that just opened up a world to you. You are obviously already part of musically, but different areas of music and artists and genres that you would not have selected otherwise. And if everyone could go through their world like that with not just music, but movies or books and other types of content, what would we learn that we actually like that we didn't give space for previously?
Yes. You don't know if you like it until you try it. I think could be applied to just about everything. Like,
so true.
I think that, yeah, we should look for opportunities in our life to experience things that we might not like just for the joy of seeing if we don't like it. And you know what?
Yeah.
If you don't think that you like something and then your experiences prove that you're right, you really don't like it, you're just more informed about why you don't like it. I think that's great.
Yeah. You have evidence at that point.
Exactly.
What was your top 3 surprises of those?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Yes, that's a wonderful question. I think I will be able to answer it. So I had quite a few surprises on this. I was shocked by a lot of things listening to these albums. Going in, I had a really strong aversion to like live albums, like things that were recorded in concert. That completely went away. I was blown away by all the entries in that regard. Aretha Franklin had a wonderful live album that I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but I still think about that one. I was introduced to forms of music that were like niche genres that I wasn't aware of. Absolutely, my number one pick, the one that I go back to again and again, just because it is so outstandingly good and different from anything else, is Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. That album is unbelievable. And that's what it's called. It's called Maggot Brain. Like the title track is called Maggot Brain. It has nothing to do with anything disgusting or grotesque. Yeah, it was just an insult that one of the band members used when one of them wasn't playing very well. It was like, come on, Maggot Brain, get it together. There are so many surprises. I love to not only judge music based on what it sounds like, but I like hearing the backstory of like how things got to be where they are. Eric Clapton and his band, Derek and the Dominoes, released this wonderful, wonderful song called Layla that is one of my favorites of all time. And the story behind it is just, I really don't want to spoil it for you. Like, it's a fun thing to look into for yourself, but it's a story about...
I am familiar with it, and yes,
it
is
wonderful.
I know the song, but I don't know the background. I'm going to have to look it up.
I would recommend it, yeah.
Love,
betrayal, loss, just, it's got everything. Great story.
I want to highlight something that Dani said about loving criticism. giving criticism. I noticed, and it's something I really enjoyed, even when it was an album that you didn't really care for, you gave it the time and energy to say something positive about it, and takeaways that weren't completely just I didn't like it and no one should. It was a real, you gave it real time and space because somebody out there put a lot of work and energy into producing this work that means a lot to them, and you didn't just dismiss it as something that was negative because you didn't like it. We might not like something, that doesn't mean it's bad.
No, thank you so much for highlighting that because that was 100% the biggest challenge for me. I felt like when I was younger, I had much more of a my way or the highway mentality where it was like, well, if I don't like it, then it's bad, and if you like it, then that's
Very
stupid.
like black and white perspective.
Exactly, but like
Yeah.
the problem with me too
Yeah,
is I
that's
had like a
stupid.
million things to back it up to. I'd be like, well, there's this, and I will tell you all of them. So for me to get this opportunity to really break things down, including a lot of things that I didn't really like or weren't really sure why they were included. For me to have this experience of being like, this means a lot to somebody, and a lot of people came together to produce this work of art and put it out into the world, and they thought that there was something that needs to be said about that. And I think that if we can go into life with this approach, it gives us a lot of opportunity to recognize like just the otherness of everyone else and know that everyone really does have their own story. Everyone really does have a contribution that maybe we don't see right away. And we within ourselves have the ability to look for that and connect to that, even when it feels difficult or it feels insurmountable or it feels like something that just can't be done. Like we still have that. It's just sometimes it's a little bit harder, but I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. And maybe this is a good place for people to start. Like, listen to an album you don't like.
That's good. Good advice.
Hey, so we were talking about how intentional you guys are. My last question is, what is a positive affirmation or a mantra that you use on a regular basis?
So, a saying that I say to myself quite a bit was something that I ran across online 2 or 3 years ago now, and it is have fun anyways. I think this just gets more and more relevant every single year. You have to expect that things are going to go wrong. You have to expect that something is going to be unpleasant, that, people have bad attitudes, like there are unexpected expenses you have to deal with, people get sick, like things get canceled.
It's part of our reality, like we were saying.
It's a part of our reality. Yes. You have to have fun anyways.
Have fun anyways.
It is a conscious choice
Speaking
that
of
you
a
have to
tattoo
make.
idea,
Have fun anyways. Like truly, you have to remind yourself of it a lot. This is a fun one because you have to make yourself again and again intentionally look at it. And there have been times where I'm having a really, really awful day, and I know that I'm not going to have a good rest of the day. Like I'm like, it's done, everything is gone. So even then, it's kind of like a funny thing to say to myself. Like I'm driving home in a rush, and I'm like, have fun anyways. Like, and again, like it kind of jumps you out of that. You're like, I know I'm not going to have fun right now.
yeah, it's just kind of
okay
silly.
too.
It kind
It's
of
just
breaks
silly.
the tension a little bit.
Exactly. So I'm really taking that to heart. So I do not want to be in a place where I'm going to expect, like, I can have realistic expectations. Like, yes, every day is not going to be sunshine and daisies. Things will probably be okay. And even if they're not, well, maybe it'll be funny. Maybe something cool.
There'll be a story behind it.
I would recommend that you try it out in your life because, again, maybe
I'd like
you're
to.
not going to have like the funnest day of your life out of it, but maybe it'll change your perspective enough to shake you up and be like, well, maybe something else could happen.
Yeah, keep an
Just
open
have
mind.
fun anyway.
Keep an open mind. Have fun anyways.
Dang, that is good. And I'm serious about the tattoo idea.
Yeah,
That
no,
with an op above it. I don't know. I'm just okay.
I'm just saying that's too much energy.
Maybe it's too. Yeah. You know what, Danny? I can't believe that time has flown by so quickly.
Oh,
that we
goodness.
have to wrap up. I mean, man, we could just keep talking and talking. It's so much fun to talk to you. And
I love
as you
this.
can see, Gibby, so much to learn from Danny all the time.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing me on. I loved this.
Lexi has been so excited to bring you on, and of course I was too, because you're just always positive, and you have I don't want to say a weird, you have a unique way
You're
of
just
looking
weird,
at
Danny.
things.
Look at you.
No, it's weird. I know. I know.
I like unique. You have a unique way, but all of you guys have a unique way of looking at things and putting a positive spin on it, and that's what our podcast is supposed to be about.
Aw, yes. Thank you, Dani. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dani.
Love to see you guys.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Dani is so funny.
How do you think the conversation went?
I think the conversation went awesome. Dani is so fun, just like I remember how you guys were when you were younger.
I got to know if there was anything particularly that you were surprised to learn about.
I didn't know that Dani was a baker. I think
Yeah.
that is totally cool. But I haven't received any of these baked goods.
You've got to go to the parties that Dani goes to.
Well, why do you think I volunteered to move Dani? Oh. I was like, okay,
For some bread.
This is my in. I'll get some bread if I help move.
That story that Dani said about their sister, where Dani's sister said all work is valid, all types of work is valid, and that you shouldn't compare your work or the value of your work to someone else's work. That really stood out to me.
Everybody's perspective can be quite different. Just depends on the circumstances.
The other main part of that story is how important and how valuable it is for other people to point out your hard work.
Yeah.
And that moment of Dani's sister sharing that has stuck with Dani for years and years without Dani's sister even knowing about it.
Yeah. Words matter. Say something nice.
And how about that mantra? Have fun anyways.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of Dani's conversation with is you know, I'm busy. It's traffic is doing its thing, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, have fun anyways. I think that is a great attitude.
I have a challenge for both of us, which would be at some point during this week, we should have a moment where we're both going through a hard time, and in that moment, we stop and tell ourselves to have fun anyways. We see what becomes of that moment as a result of using that strategy, and then we report back to each other. Yeah?
I agree. I'll do that.
All right. I thought you would enjoy hearing about the music. And Dani also has great things to talk about with movies too, but we just didn't have time to delve into that. Maybe next time. But yeah, the time went by so fast. I knew it was going to be a fun time.
It went super quick, and Dani was a delight.
You remember our challenge?
Yep. The first hard time, I'm going to be saying, have fun anyway.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We have new episodes every Monday, so keep on listening. And we are also on Instagram at Porch Swing People. Find us, follow us, and we post some extra content like pictures from our guests and audio clips. So we look forward to seeing you there as well. See you next time.
See you next time. Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.